Hello Exiles, Red Lord here, and this time around I've decided to make a video what's gonna be a summary of my league, how did I like it, what did I not like, and mostly my builds and my opinions on the league stuff and all of that. So feel free to ask anything in the comments or tell me your opinions on the league, how did you like it, how did you not like it, or just tell me. Feedback is basically very welcome on these types of videos because I don't have much of these videos, basically me talking and gameplay playing in the background. So yeah, just feel free to tell me if you like it, if you hate it, whatever. Just tell me. Any feedback is very welcome. So yeah, let's now get into the video itself. And first of all, I want to start with something that I believe pretty much every person playing this league will agree upon, and that is that it felt really goddamn good to be back in PoE 1, and I mean properly back in PoE 1, with brand new league, new content and all of that. So yeah, I mean there was the event, the Free Shy event, that was a lot of fun, I agree, yes, but for some people, for example me, the idle system instead of the Atlas skill tree really didn't make it, to be honest. It was just ridiculously broken, and one of the, in my opinion, most unfriendly, new player unfriendly mechanics that was ever in Path of Exile. So yeah, that's Free Shy is, for me, I don't really count that, but there was one good thing that Frisha told me, and that was that I don't really need much to enjoy PoE 1. Honestly, if PoE 1 would just be a fresh economy, I would really enjoy it, because there's so much to do, there's so much content, especially now with the tier 16.5s, and yeah, the new bosses, all of that. There's so much content to do, I don't really need much, and that puts me on another point in my little sheet of topics I want to talk about. The expansion itself, the secrets of the Atlas, and I heard some people, mostly on YouTube, saying that they feel like there's not that much content with the secrets of the Atlas with the current expansion. And I can see their point. If you think about it, there's a couple new crafting currencies, which are ridiculously expensive, by the way. And there's new bosses, 3 new bosses, and 3 new minor bosses, right? 3 new pinnacle and 3 new minor bosses. And the addition of tier 16.5s, or the tier memory maps, basically. Tier 16s memory maps. So yeah, with basically the mix match of tier 16 map modifiers and tier 17 map modifiers. And that's big part of the expansion, probably the biggest part that influenced farming the most. Obviously, in the beginning of the league, there was the, I don't know if I should call it exploit, but basically if you were using the scarab that makes your map drop to be 8 modded corrupted, tier 16.5 maps dropped this way would be 8 modded corrupted too, which you can still do, they still are 8 modded corrupted. However, they would roll only tier 17 modifiers, which made for the most, I think the most ridiculous juiced maps you could have ever done in PoE. And in one way, I'm kind of glad that I completely missed that and I didn't care about tier 16.5s in the beginning at all. And on the other hand, I'm not. But mostly, because I missed on it, obviously, but mostly I am happy that I did not do any of those. I did let's say the nerfed version, you might have seen in some of my videos on the stream me actually running those 8 modded tier 16.5 maps without only tier 17 modifiers, basically the current version they are. And yeah, it was pretty, I would say, rewarding, but at the same time, it was really dangerous on some characters that I've played. And yeah, so that's the tier 6, 16.5 maps. And to be honest, I think that there's gonna be some balance to them because, like, I love them. I'm not gonna lie, I love tier 16.5s, and I absolutely, which is weird because I absolutely hate tier 17 maps. I hate them to the core, but with tier 16.5, I realized that it's not just the tier 17 modifiers that I hate, but it's actually the monsters and the map layouts. The monsters in tier 17s are just ridiculous, some of them, because a lot of the monsters, honestly, they're just tuned down map boss variations. For example, the basilisks or the jumping goatman. All of these monsters, they are just map bosses, but made from unique to normal, right? So you encounter a bunch of these monsters in those tier 17 maps, and they can be really ridiculous, especially if you combine them with the enclosed layouts of most tier 17s, so you're gonna get hit a lot in those tier 17s. And if you combine them with the tier 17 modifiers, that all of that combined together just makes me hate tier 17s, and I don't think I'm gonna change my opinion on that ever. And the bosses, most of the time, bosses in tier 17s, I just hate them too. I just cannot play tier 17s. I really hate them. A lot of you are going to disagree, I'm sure. That's fine. You do what you want. I do what I want. So that's completely fine. But yeah, that really makes me think about what are they going to do with tier 16.5, if even anything. So what I would like to see change is something with the tier 17 modifiers themselves. Because, like, honestly, who's gonna just ran -20 flat resists on as a map modifier, as a tier 17 map modifier, right? And that's gonna get scaled by map mod effect. So if you have all the map mod effect on your Atlas skill tree, it's like not -20, but -38 or something, around -40 maximum resists, which is completely ridiculous. No one's gonna run that unless you have a build that off-screens everything and basically would die anyways because it's a glass cannon, or that's like at least how I see it. So yeah, I would like to see something change about tier 17 modifiers, but if they don't change at all, I don't mind. I can do other content. I don't care that much about this aspect of tier 17s. But why would I like to see change the modifiers is mainly because of diversity. And that is another topic in my sheet. And that's the energy shield meta. And honestly, I didn't mind it that much during the last league. But this league, especially with the new tier 16.5s, there's even more pushing towards making you play energy shield because of the tier 17 modifiers. Just if you think about it, a lot of the bad modifiers you can just bypass by going for lots of energy shield and, of course, chaos inoculation. And in combination with items like Ephemeral Edge or Energy Blade, as I myself have tried with my last build, played Energy Blade for the first time and played full clean Energy Shield with Chaos Inoculation character for the first time ever. And I'm not surprised that everybody's playing it because it's so freaking strong, it feels so freaking good. And Energy Blade, for example, I didn't play Ephemeral Edge because I didn't want to go fully with the meta, okay? But I wanted to try something else, something that not that many people are playing it, and that was Energy Blade. And Energy Blade absolutely strong in this league too, especially if you combine it with the Doriani's prototype on a Merc. So yeah, the tier 17 modifiers are really pushing, it feels like they're pushing you towards playing pure energy shield characters, and pure energy shield characters, what better to play than something on the top side of the tree, or basically a trickster, right? Because then you can unlock scaling of energy shield and invasion at the same time, ghost dance, all of that. Or on the left side of the tree you have the zealot's oath and all of that, and it really feels like energy shield is just so easy to recover and to get a lot of it. And just on this character, that on my last character that I played, I have over 5,000 energy shield without that much trying, and that's with energy blade up. So 48% of my energy shield is actually missing. So yeah, it's really easy to get quite a lot of energy shield, and if you just combine it with stuff like Zealot's Oath, where's the downside of energy shield regen? You just, recharge, sorry. Like, you just scale life regen, and that applies to your energy shield regen. All, for example, Kong ground stuff with Zealot's Oath instead applies to your energy shield. And now, what is it? Kong ground is, I think, 5% life regen. So let's say with, I don't know, let's say with life build you've got 4,000 life, and with energy shield you've got 10,000 energy shield. So compare the 5% against 4,000 and 10,000. Like, it is so easy to recover that energy shield, and it's so easy to get an insane amount of that energy shield, especially in terms of the recovery. You can still, you have your normal regen, and then you can disable your recharge, which you technically don't need, and get stuff like Ghost Reaver, it's called, I think, with that makes you leech instead of makes you leech energy shield instead of life. So it is even really easy to get life energy shield leech. So yeah, I don't really like it, or that's the wrong way to say it. I like it. I get it why people play it. It is absolutely, it's a blast. It's really fun, and it feels tanky. Chaos Inoculation, as I said, I've never played with it, and it feels really good, especially with the modifiers like monsters have physical damage as extra chaos, and then chance to apply Wither on you. That modifier is really dangerous for any other build, but Chaos Inoculation just doesn't give a damn about that, just because you're immune to all chaos damage. You don't care about poisons. You don't care about those damage over time, volatile green bubbles. You don't care about any chaos damage, literally. And that feels really damn good. So I am really curious what are they going to do about all of this in the upcoming league of PoE 1 in, what is it, October? Yeah, basically 2 months after the start of PoE New League. So yeah, I'm curious what are they going to do about that. We shall see. And I cannot wait, honestly. And now the next topic is, or I should say, are the Mercenaries. And yeah, this Mercenaries is technically the league. And honestly, I really love those Mercenaries. I really love the Mercenary League as a concept, or I don't know what would the proper word to call it be, but I just really loved the build diversity they opened up. But at the same time, I'm just gonna say it. I'm on the team that mercenaries should go. They shouldn't be in the game, because I think it's just way too much power creep for basically free. Yes, you gotta spend a bit of currency to gear them up, but the power they offer you is just so incredible. I don't know what was the last time we had such a big power creep. This is just way more than the enchants on weapons were during the Settlers League. So Yeah, I'm just on the team that I think mercenaries shouldn't be in the game, and I think they're not gonna be in the game in the next leagues. And if they will ever be back in the game, I think it will be something like Ultimatum. There will need just years of time to balance and figure out how to even implement them. Because if they would be implemented into the game 1-to-1 as they are right now, that means you just every league you're just gonna be playing Lightning Doriani's prototype Merc builds, and pretty much that's it. That's probably gonna be the best thing in the entire game. Any Lightning based build because of Doriani's prototype Merc. And if they would change them in a way that you need to scale defenses on them, I think that would get really tedious. So I really don't see a world where they are implemented as they are in the next league. So I don't want to be pessimistic or anything here, but for people that think that they are gonna be in the game just because they're so much fun, I just think that you shouldn't have your highs or hopes high so up, because I really don't believe they're gonna be in the next league. No matter what, I love them. As I said, I love the build diversity they opened up. I love the things, especially the auras, combination of auras with stuff like Watcher's Eye. Basically, if your Merc has, for example, Zealotry, the Zealotry affects you, and now you can use Zealotry Watcher's Eye in, even though you're not actually using yourself the Zealotry. So that's what I did, for example, on my Winter Orb. So yeah, things like these, I really love it. But as I said, I understand it's just way too much power creep. And if they are gonna be implemented into the game, I think they need to be tuned down really a lot. And that would make them, I think, tedious to just deal with. And of course, the mechanic itself, we would need absolutely more than 3 mercenaries, because it just feels really bad to... One thing I would compare it would be the... what was it? Trial of the Ancestors League, where if you've played that league, you probably remember that if you did the Trial of the Ancestors, your progress would restart with every new character. So let's say it worked sort of like Delph. Let's just imagine a number, and the higher number you went into, the more loot and better stuff you're gonna get from the trial. So let's say if you got to a number, or quote-unquote depth in the trial of 200, you make a new character, and that depth on that character starts at 1 again. So you would have to do your progress all over again. And that just felt really bad. And that was the reason why during Trial of the Ancestors, I wasn't streaming or making videos back then, but that was the reason why during that league I didn't make many characters. I remember that quite clearly. And the same thing happened here in Mercenaries League. Just trying to fish for the correct mercenary and at the same time make a new character really didn't feel good to me, and 3 is just too low. 3 maximum maximum mercenaries is just too low to have for making another builds. So this probably is big part of the reason why I made just 4 characters this league. I usually make, I would say, around 10, maybe a bit less, like 8 characters. Yeah, basically double the characters I played this league. So yeah, I think they're not gonna be implemented. I think they shouldn't be implemented. Feel free to disagree with me. Tell me in the comments why do you feel like they should be implemented into the game. And I'm just telling you right now, if you're gonna give me an argument that because of Doriani's prototype, then just take a second and don't type that argument, because that's just Doriani's prototype on a Merc. I've tried it myself. I allowed myself one build, and that was the last one I made, the Smite Inquisitor, and I went all in on the broken stuff, and just Doriani's prototype on a Merc isn't an argument. That's just an oversight that shouldn't exist in the game, in my opinion. So don't even try and type that. Okay, and now lastly, for my builds that I made during the league. And I touched on that a little, but yeah, first build, let's just start with the first build I made. That was the Champion Double Strike Impale. I've got basically I think 5 videos of progression from the start to somewhat of a mid-game, late-game version of that. And yeah, the boys, as Mathel would call it, the boys feels always good. I love the skill, and even when I don't have damage, it feels good to play the boys. I just love the build. It's probably my just favorite skill in the game. It was one of the first skills that I've ever made a build with. Not just my own build, but just first character that actually was in the end game. And I just love the skill. And I made a classic tried and true Impale version. However, on the newly reworked and buffed champion. However, there was a couple things that really discouraged me to play the character, and it wasn't anything to do with the double strike itself, but it was with the champion and with the items that I was using and I wanted to use. And first of the items was, or let's just talk about the Ascendancy. On the Ascendancy, you're basically at your maximum fortify at all times, so you don't have to gain fortify, because you're at your maximum all the time. So you want to just really increase the maximum fortify, and you're gonna be on your maximum fortify all the time. But there was a tiny problem that I had, and it was with the item Replica Badge of the Brotherhood. Replica Badge of the Brotherhood makes your endurance charges, makes your maximum endurance charges be based on your maximum frenzy charges. So if you have 10 maximum frenzies, that means 10 maximum endurance charges. That's the first part of the item. And the second part, really important for this build, was that for each endurance charge, you would get 1 maximum fortification, which just sounded, with all the fortification scaling you can get now on a champion, sounded really good, and I really wanted to play with it. So that was one of the first more expensive items that I bought during the first, I think, 3rd or 2nd day of the league. I bought it for 3 divines, and I immediately decided that realized that something was wrong. And what was wrong was the combination of Replica Badge with Perseverance Belt. Perseverance has the line that says melee hits with which stun fortify. And that was just screwing the Replica Badge of the Brotherhood, because Replica Badge of the Brotherhood has a 3rd line in it. And that line says every time you gain fortification, you have a, I think, 20 to 25% chance to lose an endurance charge. So even though I was all the time at my maximum fortification, the calculation for gaining fortification still was going on in the background. So basically, when I got to maximum endurance charges with, for example, Enduring Cry, and had, let's say, 6 endurance charges, that meant I have 6 plus maximum fortification. Even though I had those endurance charges, that meant I have the fortification, and I was immediately at the plus 6 maximum fortification from the endurance charges. Thanks to my champion ascendancy, that makes me be at maximum all the time, the calculation was still going on, and every time I hit a normal enemy with a double strike. When I stunned it, when I stunned the normal enemies, every time I stunned an enemy, I had a chance to lose an endurance charge because I gained fortification even though I was on maximum fortification. And that meant that on bosses it didn't matter at all. I was at maximum, but during the actual map clearing process, I was losing endurance charges like crazy. So I really didn't want to do the replica badge in the end, because it felt really bad just to lose those endurance charges. And that was the first big hit for the build, and it was the one of the reasons why I decided that I'm going to quickly, or not quickly, but yeah, basically go away from the build. And yeah, this was really one of the reasons, one of the big downsides, and I basically had to switch from a replica badge, and that felt really bad. I saw Mathel a couple of days when he was playing, I think, Double Strike 2, run into the same issue, and he just too decided that he's just gonna quit replica badge. So yeah, that is really unfortunate. And the second really I would say disheartening problem with the items that I wanted to use was the hidden nerf on some of the special unique, some of the uber unique drop rates. For example, and I think since we're talking about champion, you know what I'm talking about, it was the Celestial Brace. It's an uber searing exile drop, I think, and there was basically a hidden nerf for some of these items that we didn't know about. And yeah, not for the items themselves, but for the drop rates of those items. And there was a couple items like that had this hidden nerf, and no one did know about it. So yeah, it felt really bad and disheartening to just discouraging to play the character, to continue with it, because one of the core items that I wanted to use in the build, and I thought I'm gonna have it by the end of the week 1, was the Celestial Brace. And at that time, Celestial Brace was, I think, in the first week, it was usually around 80 to 200 divines. So yeah, I just decided that I'm not gonna be playing the build, and that was really probably one of the major issues with the league I have. But on the other hand, it happened just for the first character. I moved on. I don't care that much. I cannot be bothered too much by stuff like this, because then I wouldn't enjoy life. So yeah, I decided to move on to another build, and that was the Tornado of Elemental Turbulence combined with Purifying Flame and Legacy of the Rose, the new staff, on an Elementalist with the Crown of something? Crown of Desire? No? Maybe? Yeah, basically the minion helmet with golems and stacking golems to scale generic damage, and then use Elemental or Tornado of Elemental Turbulence with Purifying Flame combined with AoE scaling and Oriat's End Flask for massive explosions and good clear and decent single target. And the Legacy of the Rose was there mainly for the Shaper Slam skill. As soon as I found out about the staff, and I saw the 3 skills, basically the staff gives you variations of it can give you a skill that is the Shaper Slam, the Shaper Beam, and the Shaper Balls that penetrate. And yeah, basically the Shaper Slam has I can't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say 10,000 effective damage. I think it's 10,000 damage. So yeah, that's way more, or maybe 5,000. I'm not sure, but some crazy number like that, and it's way more than any other melee skill in the game. And it just, I just was decided that I'm gonna scale generic damage, I'm gonna go with spells, and I'm gonna scale enough generic damage to make the slam do damage too, because the staff
since the slam is melee, it scales with melee damage, and the staff itself has quite a bunch of physical damage. And yes, I was basically going an elementalist to apply all of the exposures and going for, I think, 7 or 6 maximum curses thanks to a merc setup that I did. So lowering just resistances as low as possible and doing all kinds of elemental damages with the Tornado of Elemental Turbulence, Purifying Flame, Fire and Lightning damage, and then I tried to convert most of the damage into lightning for the Shaper Slam to do some massive shocks, and I think I did like 75% lightning and 25% cold on the Shaper Slam, and it felt really good to press it. It felt really fun, and it, as I said, it felt really fun just to watch Shaper, listen to his quote, and watch him just slam any boss in the game and one-shot him. Like, not any boss. At that time, I didn't have that much budget, so yeah, mostly map bosses in a normal difficulty map, let's say. But it was really fun to watch him do that, and I cannot wait for probably the next league I'm gonna play with that staff again. And by the way, I've got literally probably the best rolled one that was on the trade, or maybe ever this league on the trade, and I got it for 1 divine. There are some big rolls on the item, and I had almost all of them perfect, and the only thing that wasn't perfect I think was the increased physical damage, and it was like 2 or 1% off or something like that. Really crazy good roll. I saw basically no one making builds with this staff, and it was really fun for me. I'm really glad that I made that build, one of the more creative ones. A lot of fun. Can't wait to play with that staff more, probably during the next league, and I might do some cast on crit stuff with that. Yeah, so then my third build, that was a Winter Orb. I tried Winter Orb for the first time in ever. I've never played Winter Orb, and that one felt really damn good. I just really loved the clear with AoE scaling with Oriet's End again, Winter Orb, and some Herald of Ice scaling. So basically massive amounts of explosions, lots of really feels good clear, and even the single target I was doing pure Winter Orb, and even the single target wasn't that bad. Like, it was fine, I liked it. If you're interested, all of these build videos are on my channel in the PoE build showcase playlist, or just scroll back a couple of videos and you're gonna find those builds. But yeah, the Winter Orb felt really good, and that was first time trying the what's it called, the Coiling Whisper ring. And yeah, that ring's absolutely broken, and I think it's gonna get nerfed maybe by 50% during the next league. And yeah, I'm glad that I had my fun with that ring during this league, and I'm still using it on the Smite character because, yeah, it's as I said, I went all in on that character with the OP stuff. So yeah, I loved Winter Orb. I might look back for Winter Orb someday, I'm not sure when, but yeah, someday I really want to play Winter Orb again, but it'll be a bit harder to cook up something different with the Winter Orb, I think. But yeah, that was a great character on an Inquisitor, of course. And then we're getting to the last character that I was playing recently, my last character of the league, and that was Smite Inquisitor, Chaos Inoculation, Energy Blade for the first time, Chaos Inoculation for the first time, Pure Energy Shield for the first time, and Doriani's Prototype for the first time, and I had it on a Merc, of course. And all of that combined with Coiling Whispers and just Energy Shield scaling with Energy Blade makes for a ridiculous build. It just is ridiculous, especially on an Inquisitor. And yeah, probably one of the strongest builds that I've ever played. Just base game gets shit on. There's no one has a chance during the base game, and I just made that character because I wanted to have the slice. I allowed to have a slice of all of that OP stuff at least once during this league. So I combined all of that and it made for a crazy character. I still wasn't able to farm blights with it, just if you've seen my shorts, just mostly because I was failing maps due to performance. And yeah, that was basically the reason. But Ubers, not a problem. It doesn't have like, I don't know, 100 billion damage to just one-shot the Ubers, but there's really comfy, I would say like 40 to 50 million DPS, and that is really comfy, maybe more. If you've seen some of my videos, you probably know that I don't care about PoB that much, and I use it much more as a tool to plan out stuff than to maximize and just see what would give me the biggest number. So yeah, I don't care that much. I assume it's around 40 to 50, maybe to 40 to 80 million, let's say, comfy, if we have our Animate Guardian up, our Mercenaries near, and all of that, all of the auras, blah 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 blah. So yeah, I would say 40 to 60, 40 to 80 comfy DPS million. And yeah, just a blast of an build. Probably, as I said, one of the strongest build, if not the strongest build that I've ever played. And I'm glad that I did it because it's gonna finish all the challenges, and it's gonna be my first time finishing all the challenges, all the 40 out of 40 challenges for the first time ever. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've got just, I think, 3 challenges left, and that's complete the total of 250 modifiers on invitations. Not a problem at all. Kill 4 of the following pinnacle boss encounters. That's not a problem at all. I already got that prepped and ready. And then I need to kill pinnacle bosses, Uber versions, Uber bosses 28 more times, and that is not a problem either. Keep an eye out for shorts. I'm gonna release some shorts of these, definitely, because I expect to have at least some lucky drops. But yeah, maybe I won't. Maybe there's not gonna be any shorts. Either way, keep an eye out for them if you're interested. But yeah, that's the last build, and I think that's all I wanted to say. For the TLDR, for the conclusion, I would say, loved the league. I loved getting back to PoE 1. Not gonna lie, I think everyone will agree upon that it was really great time to be back in PoE 1. And at the same time, yeah, I don't think the Mercenaries are gonna be in the next league, so I guess enjoy them until the end of the league, or if you're gonna be playing PoE 2, until the start of PoE 2. I know I will, but for me there's not that much more I want to do. All of the stuff I want to do with other builds I can do during other leagues, because I assume that if Mercenaries are not in the next league, I assume those mercenary gems like, I don't know, Sunder of Trarthus, maybe, are still gonna be in the game in some shape or form. So yeah, I'm not afraid of not doing some of these builds this time, and I'm just gonna sail off to the sunset with this last build, finish those last 3 challenges, and then prep for the PoE 2 league, which I'm really hyped for, and you can definitely expect some content during the league, definitely, and before the league 2. For example, my builds, maybe even some prep work in terms of playing the acts again, maybe, we shall see. But yeah, with that, thank you very much for watching, Exiles, and see you next time.